Veni, vidi, vici. Like a fucking Roman emperor, I stand unscathed as the dust settles once more. No small thanks to you, by the way. That was quite the pickle you got me out of. Yep, no gospel choir of repressed fucking sissies is gonna take down the mighty Cicero. The press has been trying to nail me to the cross for years, but the good people of Michigan won't hear of it. As long as nobody can prove anything, I'll dial up that Midwestern charm to 11 and stick to the story. It wasn't me. And there's my God-given gift. They believe me every fucking time. I own public opinion, and I can make anyone believe anything. As long as there's no actual proof to the contrary. And that, my friend, is why you guys need me around. You'll get away with anything. With murder. Quite literally. So let's you and I set up another meeting sometime. We can talk about favors I might need, and how when it's all over, we'll stand victorious. Still loved and adored by our constituents.
You look like you want to ask something. Don't. I caught a bullet for you. And people like you. Because you're an instigator. Yes, people have their place. They make neat dogs, but sometimes we need instigators. There's a war starting out there, and the Illuminati don't fight wars. Our fingers got burned too many times in the past. Now we work wars, make them an aspirational concept for other guys to buy into. Supply and demand. Our demands. That's where you come in. From the data you stole, we've been clued in on a major Orochi operation in Eastern Europe. Get this, the backwoods of Transylvania. I know, right? Didn't even think that was a real place. The thing is, we're out of the loop, and that's really not a good look for me, or the company as a whole. Time to step up. The situation is perfect. It's the Stone Age, dial-up internet out there. What happens in vampire country stays in vampire country.
You're a long way from home, and not quite dressed for the occasion. Your superiors, they did explain it is cold in the Carpathians, huh? No matter. First we deal with the vampires, then the frostbite. Do not presume you know what to expect from vampires, from your movies, your games. The reality is dirtier. There is no superstition in my homeland, only reality. We grow up knowing to fear the night. Now the night fears me. Strange how life turns out. This valley was a refuge for all creatures. The forbidden, the lost, the forgotten. Such things whispered of in my grandmother's time. Today, it is a battlefield. I wonder, who would upset such a sanctuary? It is a very convenient crisis, if something needed to be buried out here, or unearthed. But the Council does not ask me to think, only to rally the troops. You see, the air is thick with stories on smoke. You should follow both to their sources. We make a big deal of folk tales. One brought me love. It's a sweet story, you know. Another blinded my eye. Not so sweet. Let's see what fortune they have for us now. Is this not what you signed up for? To play a part in a medieval siege, like in old history? The villagers say the walls of Harba held against the Golden Horde, the Templars, the Soviets, a peaceful resistance. A nice idea. Between you and I, that won't work again. In siege, the attackers starve out the defenders. Is it not true? Here, the attackers are starving. The blood hunger drives them, hard and strong. They will not stop. A single vampire killed 30 people in Cluj-Napoca, where I come from. One night, one vampire. It now sleeps under a churchyard with an iron spike through its skull. We do not have enough soil in the churchyard or iron in the houses to seal all of these away. I've done the math. Look how the ghouls are gathering for their feasts, sniffing out the dead and the abandoned. Yet, the walls still hold. Some old saint or miracle smiles down on this village for us to have made it this far. I should like to drink to his health.
Hello, please take a seat. Can I get you something to drink? Go on, take a seat.
I do believe our guests receive their sustenance from more arcane waters, Lady Sophie.
Don't mean they don't drink ale, do it? It's on the house for as long as it lasts. Please forgive Mr. Staghead. He's not in the best of moods, poor thing. Having lost home and hearth.
Home, hearth, my kingdom, the forest. All of it succumbed to parasites. To filth. Our world is coming apart at the seams. The end is folding in on us.
No more drink for you, sweet. You only get melancholy, and we don't need that now. Not when you're about to help me with the ad.
Her skin radiant, pure and white as winter's dawn over Arcadia lost. She is Eve, born of the earth, not of man. Plump as a ripe apple, fruitful and fertile.
Plump? Fertile? Oh, thanks very much. That'll just scare men off, sweet. He's trying. It's a distraction for him. For me too, in lieu of better and brighter days. I'd like to get out someday. Even if I could leave right now, I wouldn't. He's kind. They need us. To believe. To remember. To fight. This is all they have. These fields and forests and mountains. They've nowhere else to go. The world out there is not for them.
Here will soon be no more. My people are abandoning our sacred lands, leaving only the dead to go to Earth and the disease to spread. The power of the forest is on the wane, and a shadow falls over us all.
This has always been a special place. A place of strong magic. I've run with fairies since I could run. The forest people protected us as long as we left their lands alone. It was the law. The Strigoi, the bloodsuckers, they don't respect the law.
There is a dark and infinitely malevolent force behind this siege. It is a ruse concealing some fearful machinery restarted. It brings forth memories of dark times befalling us countless seasons ago, and of those who rose up against the endless night. The dragon, the eagle, the owl.
Oh, I've heard this story also from my mom. She used to sing a beautiful song. La 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 la. I'm afraid I wouldn't know how to sing it in English. On karaoke night, I just listen. Everyone's okay with that.
The forces of darkness are stronger than ever, and those who stand against them are weakened by centuries and forgetfulness, bitterness, and the embrace of the grave. No matter how many of you there are, with your modern magic and your steel weapons, you cannot defeat this evil. Not without their help.
The owl, the eagle, and the dragon? The dragons died a long time ago. Eagles, there are plenty of up in the mountains, but none here. Owls, though, I've seen owls. There's one in particular I see often in the village. He hoots at me. I think it's a friendly owl. So, what do you have so far? Her bosom soft as... Oh, sweet. There's just no way I'm filling your mug again. What's the matter, sweet?
Another of my limbs ravaged, amputated. They are savage butchers, the vampires, and they have no care for this earth. They only want to see it destroyed. For what purpose? What will be left for them to rule over? ashes.
It's been like this since the Dark Crusade began. For all of us. But for them in particular. The forest folk feel the intrusion and the destruction like it's part of them being torn off. I don't think they act with any thought, the Strigoi. They don't have a vision for a world after their war. They only want to feed on us until there's nothing left.
Then let them try. They will find no nourishment in my veins, only pain and death. Every part of me is the opposite of them, and I am poison to their kind. The forest is my body. The trees my arms, twigs and branches my fingers. Through them I touch the earth, the air and the water, and I read them as a bat reads the night. The vampires, they're tearing away my senses one by one. But they can still be restored, regrown, and through them I can see past the scorched earth and bring the battle to our enemy.
He's talking about protecting magic trees.
Your command of language never ceases to amaze me, Lady Sophie.
That's why we're such a good team, sweet.
Comrades, a revolution is impossible without a revolutionary situation. We have been driven from our homes, from our birthlands by imperialists. Imperialists with fangs. We stand before a capitalistic vampiric army bent on sucking the people dry for their own private profit. We must organize. We must revolt. They are resistant to change. But change is being thrust upon us whether we want it or not. My own kind is the worst. The Blagini do not realize that what serves society will serve them also. We've been isolated for too long. I have read the works of Marx and Lenin. I understand that without a revolutionary theory, there cannot be a revolutionary movement. Revolutions are the locomotives of history. But locomotives also need passengers, and we are a bit thin in that department. I have put a message to my people on the magic tape to let them know that they may come out of hiding and follow you, that you will protect them and bring them to this shelter. They will do so because they are sheep. I want to teach them to think for themselves, but until then, it is good that they are sheep. Sometimes, history needs a tiny nudge in the right place. Abolish all private property! Fairies of the world, unite!
You've been following me? Why is that, eh? Never mind, I know why you're here. You know anything about these computers? It's not doing what I needed to do. Even a wrinkled apple can be fresh on the inside. When I was born, we had miracle machines that make this look like a Stone Age tool. And they were a damn sight easier to use, too. No, just leave it. I'll figure it out eventually. And you've more important matters to attend to. Yes, I am the owl you're looking for. But I'm afraid I don't have much in the way of answers. I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told the others. This has all happened before. Oh, yes. Vlad was the one who defeated Mara, the vampire queen. Can't tell you how, because he's been dead for half a millennium. And he neglected to tell me. But he did leave me something of his. I reckon he left a part of himself behind before he passed on, and I also reckon you'll be needing his help to take care of Mara. I never could make much sense of the man, but then he is human, and I'm not. He left it for someone like you, someone who could stand up to her. I've held on to it for 500 years. I have a long memory. That thing isn't all Vlad left. He left behind a legacy, his own little army. The Draculesti have suffered much in the 5 centuries since his death, but they are still around. In fact, they have recently come back. I've seen them in the forest. That lovely girl who uses her looking glass to spy on the vampires, and the strapping circus boy. But the one you really need to speak with is Milosh, their king. He came to pay his respects when the Draculesti arrived. I liked that. Though he did speak too much and too loudly. Not a trait you share with him, I'm happy to say. If anyone knows what Vlad Dracula had prepared for Mara's inevitable rebirth, it would be the Draculesti. The news of her return are disturbing. They herald something dark. There is great power in these mountains, and Mara seeks it. It was never simply what's on the surface with her. And I believe this vampire crusade is more of a vampire charade. But that's neither here nor there. First, you should put your mind to that thing someone needs to. Now, shoo! I'm going to see if I can't get this pewter to do what I want it to do. You'd think a lovely old lady like me would have no enemies. Well, when you've been around for as long as I have, you're bound to make some. Most are long dead. Some, unfortunately, are as long-lived as I am. Say hoot! Why is this little wheel pointing to food? I can't ever seem to make things sharp. Those third-age hollow imagers were so much easier to use. The vampire queen sees me as either a threat or an annoyance, I'm not sure which, but she wants to get rid of me. I thought I'd be extra annoying and send her a photograph. Oh well, I can always make a swift getaway. But I'm needed here. I'm protecting more than my tree against Lilith's children. If I flee, it won't be long before they all fall, and that'll cause trouble everywhere. They're making your life easier, though, gathering in one place like that. Just the sort of thing we need for a preemptive strike. And I'll see if I can't dig up some other device to capture your moment of glory. Do you really think if I had a choice in the matter, I'd be holed up in this old oak for hundreds of years? Well, maybe I would at that. But at least I'd have a choice. I could have moved to Paris or Barcelona. gone to the movies, eaten some proper cooking, fed the ducks in the park, and seen how the world's been getting on, I'd have had a choice. But I have no choice. I need to stay. Keep an eye out for trouble here. And trouble just found us. I watched what happened on the pewter. When they blew a hole through the world in Tokyo, it stirred up trouble here. I'd been having my hands full since. The Deathless. Lilith always knew how to torture me. And I always knew how to put a stop to her shenanigans. I'm not sure what she's up to these days, but I'm sure it's no good. No good at all. By the time I got here, Lilith already had her little cult of worshippers. She made them immortal. That's her power. But I managed to bind them. For as long as I stay around. But they're straining against their bonds now, Lilith's servants, all of them everywhere. We'll just have to start here, with the Deathless, while there's still time. You don't have to drink that. It's execrable. Thousands of years, and I never learned to cook a good pot of tea.
Yes, it is a very bad habit. I have not smoked so much or slept so little since medical school. I learned many facts as a young man, but are useful during wartime. Fishing twine will hold for a suture. Strong palinka will do for disinfectant. And a doctor must never abuse his orderlies, so you do not find a shit taken in your locker. Because they do the real work. Circulating what is needed to where it is needed. There is only so much I can do alone. And here I must be a medical student, a veterinary surgeon, a psychiatrist, an alchemist. The injured, always more injured they bring to me are sometimes more exotic than human anatomy. It is good that vampires sterilize their steel. We are all professionals when it comes to preserving blood. You have many other matters to deal with, I understand. Why else would you have come to this strange village? Not for sightseeing, I think. But we have a war here, with many wounded. And I need my orderlies to do my best work. So I can be the surgeon the name Varias deserves. And forget the memory of the surgeon it had.
You should perhaps ingest some of your own brew to make the mind pictures fade.
But I'm working, sweet. I can't drink at work. It will pass. It always does. Sorry, I didn't see you. Was just taking a break. I'm sensitive to pain. Not my own, other people's pain. People I know and those people I don't know too, but at least only people. The Strigoi, the bloodsuckers, vampires. I don't empathize with them. Their pain does nothing to me. Them I...
Who was it this time? Who fell? Every day another falls. So many have succumbed to the vampires and to other darker things deep in our old forest. There is no safe place for any of us any longer. Not even from humans who ought to know the law.
first few days, I could barely stand up. There was death everywhere. People I've known my whole life. Villagers, farmers, my own family.
They are at rest now, Sophie. In the woods on the other side. There they run with the deer through the glades and soar with the birds into the clear blue sky.
Not everyone. Not all of them. Some deaths are incomplete. Some dead are restless and they rummage in my head. Like they're looking for something, pulling open drawers and closets. I feel them knocking about. There was much that happened down there, on the farms, when the vampires came. Horrible, horrible things. Death isn't the worst thing someone can do to you. Make sure you watch out for the dead as well as the undead when you're out there. The dead that walk are bothersome, but the dead that don't, they have stories to tell, and we need to listen.
Few in this village have a taste for killing. What do they know of blood? Childbirth, the pig slaughter, a cut from splintered wood. I know of blood. So they look to me. Yorgu the soldier, they say. Yorgu who has a violence in his eyes. They are wrong. I am not soldier. I am hunter. A soldier, he makes war in the open. The hunter, he stalks shadows. He is tireless and shows no mercy. He learns of the weakness in his prey, animal or man. And then he strikes on that weakness. That is his weapon, not the rifle, not the knife. Look out there at those creatures, those strigoi. They are bold and walk under the sun. They have no fear of war. If we let them come to us, we are forced to fight as soldiers, and we will lose. A soldier will only hold off a hungry pack of dogs for so long. This, I know well. Like the hunter, we must watch them, track them, learn their ways, then hunt them like diseased animals. They want blood, so we give them blood. Most people, they leave me alone to drink. They believe I drink to forget. To forget the thrill of red trail in the snow. The grip of knife. The strong beat of dying heart. They are wrong. I drink to remember. And now, we drink together. We have matter to discuss. Norok! My place is in the wild, alone, where Yorgu need concern himself with Yorgu only. I would never trap myself in this village by choice. No. I owe these people debt. They took me in when others would not. This is a place that takes in all men and monsters. So I stay to repay debt. Only that. I have scouted past the Strigoi, the vampires, and the war machines, out to the edge of the fields. I saw there the creatures. They are building a great nest.
A city. I recognize great evil when I see it. We must discover why they are here, where they come from, how they build, where they get material, so we can stop them. So that I will have no more debt to repay. But first, we drink. To remember.
I lose count of how many all-night vigils it has been. What runs dry first, I wonder? Black coffee or faith?
Faith.
The coffee. My church accommodates many miracles, many mysteries. And in a town like this, it needs to. The workings of God are not always obvious, but we learn to see them in all things.
All things?
All. Feet off the pews. Buried in the graveyard, there are both villagers and also the Soviets who worked here in the past. Not a past to be proud of. But sins can be repented, and everyone is entitled to their eternal rest. Then the ghouls came from their pits, digging up the graves, gorging on the dead. I considered how we fast to regain our innocence, and I believe this is a universal truth.
Yes, I starve, but I am as pure as the Carpathian snow.
Perhaps in time it will erode your temperament, huh? I believe to deny their ghouls their foul banquet will calm them and bring peace. At least to this small sanctuary. There are many things put beneath Earth that should remain beneath Earth. Oh, present company accepted, of course.
Well played, Father. You have fangs, after all. My, what do we have here? A hero, come to fight the villains. Your pulse is quickening. I taste it.
Please do not lead our visitors into temptation, Hastatian. This is a chapel.
Of course it is, Father. We are men of code and conduct. I would not outstay your welcome, or your gods.
You know that I ask for his mercy on all the living, and the dead.
With a Wampiri army at your door, you might save your prayers. If this is what passes for an army, undisciplined, without honor, dogs yapping for meat, rolling in their own piss and shit to please their mistress. Forgive me, Father.
Be sure I'll add it to your list.
The ones who lead them and wear the uniforms of generals, traitors to this land, every one of them. Those who would wipe their fangs on the Romanian flag should be careful someone does not smash them out. Even someone like you. You are too weak to destroy a Blood Elder, but you could wound them. To reform a Wampiri body from dust is a long and agonizing process.
So in their next lives they might strive to be without sin.
So in their next lives, they learn to fear the stake.
This is not the future my family once saw for me. The great various doctors. I used to think my sister was the unlucky child, but it would be me. It became known my father collaborated with the Soviets, even after the occupation. He abandoned us rather than face his shame. If we spoke of him, we expected spit in our face. I studied in disgrace and could find no work in the cities, so I come to the villages, because the people care more about what I do for them than my name. And I search for my father's work. The work of the Red Hand. You could not fairly call what I found in their underground laboratories medicine or science. This is where the trail took me. To the observatory that sits over the village. In that abandoned place, I found documents, recordings, catalog after catalog of crimes against life itself. And a sealed door. I began stacking the stuff in piles for bedtime reading. Then the vampires came and I had to run. My father would never speak to us of his work, but everything he left unsaid, he also left to fester in me. I inherited my father's sins. When I opened those doors to the past, I also opened up a path to redemption. For the name Varias. And for me.
Open signal to the inner-outer reaches. Please respond. Still analyzing your anima and anti-anima fields. Modular structure is not yet finalized. Dog's name was Katyusha. As a child, I dreamed of stars. Represent humanity and the Red Hand. We shall explore new spaces.
We will seek to widen the opening. Repeat. Please dial up your whispers. They recruited us to be phantom cosmonauts. At first, we misunderstood. But then they showed us the opening. They cut into us, so we could cut into the cosmos. The true cosmos. These channels prepare me. Anima, it is the life. But then came anti-anima. The blood. The goal of the program is to create the first Voyager. Not someone who floats in a suit mere mind miles from the Earth. No, someone to explore the inner-outer reaches.
Cool as a cucumber, aren't you? Thought you secret world folks knew how to take care of yourself. Or is it simply that your skin is so thick fangs don't pierce them? Are you so powerful now? You believe you're immortal? So did that one. I got no love for your world. Or for you. We just happen to ride the same boat across these stormy seas. I'm down in steerage with the common people. But you? Well, you're riding first class with the royalty of the secret world, aren't you? Oblivious to the ripples you make by throwing rocks from the top deck. Ripples that end up killing innocents. There's a nest of vamps and I don't know what up on that farm. I've been hearing screams and other sounds like nothing you ever want to hear again. Now I know my limits. I hunt vampires only, and I hunt them alone, on account of not having skin as thick as yours. I stay quiet and invisible. That's how I live to see tomorrow. If you got a single shred of dignity left, you go up there and face the consequences of your actions. You take care of this. You look them in the eye and you come to terms with what your secret world is doing to us all. Or so help me God. When this is all over, I will hunt you down my own self. All vampires have the same weakness. That makes them vulnerable. They might live forever, but without blood, they're harmless. Every day they need to drink, and once they run through the wild game, they need to rely on field rations, so to speak. Most of them are mongrels, lowest of the low, willing converts to undeath. ranks of criminals and misfits, promised eternal life and glory in exchange for a life in darkness. Some are older, stronger, centuries old, clever too, and they're real tough to put down. And then you got your pure breeds. They've been around since the dawn of things, since the night grew fangs. I'd not last 5 seconds in that fight. So I have to be smarter than them, more resourceful. It's taken me a while to find the right mix, but I think I got it now. I just haven't been able to get close enough to give it the proper test run. Tell you what, seeing as you're pretty much immortal your own self, I'll let you have the honors.
Ils ont tué mon frère, putain! Mon petit frère chéri!
Je sais, c'est horrible.
Mais tais-toi! T'as pas pu t'empêcher de lui mettre le grappin dessus! The two of them, sneaking off at night to play their little game of touche pipi.
Céline, s'il te plaît. Laurent, her brother, was killed by wolfmen, and she blames me.
Parce que tu penses qu'à ça, bordel! Il serait encore en vie si tu...
We were together, me and Laurent. We were in love. We wanted to tell her, but we were afraid she will lose it. But it was Laurent, not me, who insisted we come to Romania. He was so excited. He was the one who wanted to see the windmill, to spend the night in that cabin, to take the midnight walk, the two of us alone. I didn't think. I was caught in the moment.
Forcément, t'es complètement taré de la tête.
How could I have known? The wolves came from everywhere. We ran back to the cabin and he was right behind me. Then he wasn't. We returned here, we shouted his name. Céline lost her phone, we couldn't call him. And we haven't heard from him since.
Allez, il n'y a plus que nous deux maintenant. Comme avant.
Les loups-garous, c'est pas une espèce en voie de disparition, hein?
Non, si.
Je sais bien que tu m'écoutes pas, mais fais gaffe!
De quoi? Mais j'entends rien!
Very adulte. Céline, she never lets anything go. She's like my big tough sister, watching out for petite Aurélie. She said that if ever a boy will break my heart, she will break his arm. He did, and so she did, in 2 places.
Une petite danse? À qui le tour?
It was my idea that we need a long holiday. It was her brother's idea that we came here. See the Carpathians. Experience the beauty. This may be a stupid question, but do you believe a place can be magic? Magic you feel in the air, that pulls at you, makes you lose your mind, burns like the first kiss, beautiful and horrible. It tells you that you can do anything, that consequences don't matter. It's romantic, no? The old windmill, it feels like that. Like magic. Like love. A place of safety, but danger also. We weren't the only ones drawn to it. The wolfmen came. So many wolves. Hungry, crazy, insatiable. So we armed ourselves. You know what the story says about wolves and pretty young girls.
Quoi?
$20, $23, $30 strigoi. Huh. For this nest, I think we are going to need bigger flamethrowers. It is not nice to spy on someone who is spying. At least you are not one of them. That means I don't have to kill you. That is what I am. A killer of strigoi. You know strigoi? Upir. Vampire. Vampires. They have many names. There is more written about them than they deserve, but I have read it all. Most important thing in war is to know your enemy. I am Draconist, and we have been at war with Strigoi since before I was born. We hunt them, they hunt us. It is a dance we do. No resting. Too little time for planning. But plans are important. I work hard to convince the men of my tribe, don't fight blind. Take time for preparation. They say, Zaha, with her nose always in books, always making plans, silly girl. That is why I go alone. For time to think and to plan. Here, look. See the Strigoi in their nest. See what they guard well. We can use it. See where they guard not so well. We can use that too. It is thrifty to prepare today for the wants of tomorrow. Aesop. I have a library card. Eye of newt and toe of frog. Wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm's sting. I wish William Shakespeare makes it sound so easy. My clan, they do not know the cost of magic. Do you? You have the look of one who has been changed and cannot go back. Back to magic not being your way. I know how you feel. It sets us apart. Romany men, they punch and wrestle like they are still bear tamers. They rattle their silver charms and lucky symbols, and they polish their saints' finger bones. But they have no trust for those who make magic. They think naked witches dancing on the mountaintop. So Milosh lets me work alone. That suits me fine. I like it better away from the camp. I can cover their behinds with no distractions. The clan has enough work inside that forest of ghosts. With my magic, I make sure no wolves or fangs will surprise them. I have spells that warn, spells that bind, spells that burn, and spells that blind. I'll show you if you want. No naked dances.